Happy Sunday morning to you. This is today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. We have the highest risk today, so far at least, with that enhanced risk you see on the map there in front of you. Wisconsin seems to be picked on. That's the level 3 area out of 5. The large area, though, of severe weather risk, really everything in the darker green technically counts. The yellow, which is the slight risk area, the level 2, is actually covers a lot of ground as well. Let's zoom in on that and take a look at, Wisconsin's getting picked on, it looks like, and Duluth too. So the cities included in this would be Duluth. It's not showing up here, but Eau Claire is right there. Rhinelander is north of Wausau. And this all goes all the way down to Madison and Milwaukee, actually. So, of course, day one, you get the most detail on what type of severe weather we're talking about: tornado, hail, wind. So let's take a look at those today. So the tornado risk today, pretty high again in northern Wisconsin, with a 5% risk of any strength tornado within 25 miles of any point. So this is pretty typical for this time of year, especially when you have jet stream northwesterly flow like this. And a lot of wooded area up there, not real densely populated, but the tornado risk is there nevertheless. If we go and look at the severe wind risk, it basically, the highest percentage, 30%, is where that enhanced risk is, the first map I showed you. So again, the same cities: Duluth, Eau Claire, Rhinelander, Wausau, down to Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay is in that as well. And then the striped area is SPC's new. So the percentages, the colors are really just telling you what's the percentage chance of a severe wind at its minimum is a 59 mile per hour gust or greater. And then this scale here attempts to assign intensity parameters and percentages. So basically what you're seeing here is it's going to be a low-level wind risk, more than a 50-50 chance of that, and about a 1/3 chance it'll be at about the 64 to 74 miles per hour. And if you add these up, 10, 5, that's about a 16% chance it'll go to hurricane force or greater. So not real great. So in other words, staying pretty low. But again, if the SPC bothers to put the striped area out, they have some confidence about that. Same with hail. Again, northern Wisconsin is under the gun for the highest percentage of any 1-inch hailstone or greater. And then the striped area is suggesting about, an 83% chance it'll stay below 2 inches and about a 50-50 chance it'll stay below 1.5. On NATOcast, we'll go back to the tornadoes for a second. They do have a 5% chance north of Green Bay up to Marquette, with a 3% risk surrounding that in eastern Wisconsin. Now, on CSU, they actually backed the tornado risk up quite a bit to the west. So everything was pointing here. This one is actually a lot more back to the west, including more of Minnesota and a good chunk of western Wisconsin. Not too excited about the hail, but the wind risk is interesting. They do put a little blob right around southern Indiana there, Evansville, over into portions of southern Illinois. Turning the page to Monday, the entire thing shifts with the jet stream disturbance driving it. So from eastern Wisconsin in the UP, diving southeast, including all of Ohio, Indiana, all of Michigan, Chicagoland area, major cities of Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, not Detroit. Not shown here would be Columbus and Cleveland too, and also Lexington, Kentucky would be some of the larger areas. Green Bay would be included in that too. The tornado risk, now this is interesting, this shifts around a little bit, but it's a 2% chance from southeastern Wisconsin, including the Chicagoland area, around Kalamazoo, Michigan, and close to that, Grand Rapids, northern Indiana, pretty much, and a small chunk of Ohio. That's for Monday. The wind risk is shifted as the storms organize and possibly become lines of storms. So we have a 30% chance of any 59 mile per hour wind gust occurring in that pink-red area there in parts of Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. And the hail risk is backed up into eastern portions of Wisconsin. CSU is agreeing with the tornado assessment. They put a 5% risk in northern Indiana, centered probably around South Bend, Fort Wayne, that area. And the wind risk equally about that same area. There's a 30% chance right around Fort Wayne. Hail, Chicago maybe. Not the highest risk of the three, though. And then we go ahead to Tuesday, and again, the whole thing is just kind of shifting along this hot air dome, which is obviously centered here. Not even a thunderstorm in this area. But this continues on over to Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and a good chunk of North Carolina, a little bit of Tennessee as well. CSU is painting a picture of tornadoes in the Appalachian Mountains area, kind of an interesting pattern if that works out. So West Virginia and portions of surrounding states with the biggest wind risk and a large swath south and east of that. And then Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center has not dropped anything, but I showed this to you because that's where this is pointing a 15% probability, which is where the Storm Prediction Center would begin. So, in other words, I show this to you just to see if there's a heads up. They haven't done anything down here yet, but it could be for Georgia and South Carolina. Then we'll just sum up the supercell composite pretty high, and this basically sums up what I just talked about. So this goes out 7 days, including today. So again, the high percentages, as you would expect, where all those outlooks I just showed you overlap. So Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, maybe Ohio, have the highest risk of supercells. That's for the first 7 days. Next 7 days after that, the 2nd through the 8th of August, it settles down quite a bit on percentages. And then after that into mid-August, again, it's pretty quiet. Again, consistent with I think this time of year, August is traditionally the lowest percentage of supercells really in the warm part of the season.